Happy Friday! If you don't know who I am, my name is Hoja and I'm a marketing consultant and business coach, but I like to call myself a creative entrepreneur and problem solver. Before I go into what I learned this week, I want to give a shout out to two people. First, I want to give a shout out to you for watching this video, for showing up this week, and for tackling your goals. Listen, I know it's not an easy task because every day may not be the same when you wake up. One day you may feel powered up, other days you may feel unmotivated. So I just want to honor you for being here, for getting through this week. No matter how it went for you, just make sure that you celebrate yourself this weekend. And kudos to you, bonus points really, if you let me know in the comments how you're going to celebrate. The second person that I want to give a shout out to is my friend Marissa, aka Mo Money, as I like to call her. And the reason is I want to embrace her this week because when Instagram and Facebook went down, I went to TikTok to ask what was happening, and she was the first person to respond. Not only is she the real MVP and she's the real homie, but she reminded me of my days way back when I just started in sales in corporate world. She was my go-to person for any questions about tech stuff, sales, and marketing strategies. She was really my guru for everything. I looked up to her and I still look up to her for her confidence and the courage that she has wherever she goes. She was my mentor, like I said, in my very first year in sales back in the day. And I'm just so grateful for her friendship to this day. So that's why I wanted to take the time to just honor Mo this week. And this is a great way for me to transition and for you to reflect if you have a go-to mentor or a friend with who you can ask these types of questions or any questions. You know, that mentor that can guide you and tell you what steps you need to take next. Maybe you don't have a mentor and that's okay too. I would love to be that mentor for you. So comment in this video or direct message me and let me know how I can help. And in the meantime, I'm going to show up for you every Friday and share what I know and the insightful lessons that I stumbled upon this week. So let's get started. Here are 3 lessons of this week. Number 1, social media shutdown. Let's talk about this week's Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp shutdown. Everyone talked about it, so I want to talk about it for a quick moment too. What does the shutdown say to the content creators? Some social media gurus are saying to focus on mastering one platform at a time. Others are saying be on all platforms so that you're not only relying on one platform. What does Aya say? I agree. You don't want to give your power to one company only. So diversify. If you're a content creator, diversify and sprinkle your content all over different platforms. If you're a content consumer, diversify. What do I mean by that? If you're a user who uses Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp to communicate with people, diversify. You have text messages, right? You have your phone that you can pick up, email, your website, your Zoom, Google Meets. You've got so many options. Don't give all your power to just one company, whether you're a user or a content creator. Remember, we're just renters using these platforms. We don't actually own them. So save your work on your computer and be intentional with how you share and present your work to the public. Speaking of the public, here's lesson 2. Let's talk about impressions. You only have 7 seconds to make an impression online. In person, the impression might last a little longer because you're physically there. So we're just going to tackle the online world for a moment. There will be many people who may not even watch this part of the video because somewhere along the line, I didn't catch their attention and did not make an impression. So essentially, I lost to make the first impression. So first impressions matter, but I want to remind you that second impressions and third impressions matter too. It takes about 12 times or 12 impressions to make a person like you, listen to you, and even trust you. So don't get comfortable with someone who you think knows you, when in reality, you only maybe made a third impression on them. And if you get comfortable with the idea that someone knows you, when in reality they don't, you may lose on a lot of opportunities. So my advice is to always bring your best version forward, at least 20 times before you get comfortable. This goes out especially to those in-person relationships, because in the online world, you may not always know when you're making a first impression, second impression, third impression, or even 12th impression. So it's best to be the best version of yourself anywhere and everywhere you go, because you just don't know who's watching and you don't know what kind of impression they have on you. Speaking of impressions, here's lesson number 3. Let's talk about those who act like they're public figures, but really they're not. I'm talking about real life scammers behind social media platforms like Instagram, who pretend to be public figures and manage to convince you to spend or invest money on fake investments and products. An easy way to identify these scams is to do a Google search as well as search on the actual social media platform. You will notice that these scammers will use the same profile photo as the actual public figure or the business that they claim to be. I wrote a blog about different ways you can identify scammers, so if you ever need to refer to it, visit my website, which is linked to my profile. The reason why I talk about scammers is that I personally hate when people get taken advantage of. I see scams online and in person every day of the week. I don't want to consider myself a professional on identifying scams, but I definitely do research before I give anyone my money. And I would not want that to be you. I don't want you to be in that position where you're getting scammed. So just protect yourself. The digital world, it can be a little bit tricky. And like I said, would not want you to get sucked into the rabbit hole of scams. If you need my help, you know how to reach me. I hope these were helpful and insightful. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this week's review. I wish you the best, because you deserve the best. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next week.